Hi friends, so we made it. Today is day 8 of Card Week. Hopefully you are enjoying the online crop for World Card Day. Today for the final card, I thought I would use another cut file that comes with the card kit and do some embossing. So I grabbed some of the cardstock that came in the kit, and I'm doing a standard size card again today, so 4¼ by 5½, and I scored that at 4¼ And then I'm grabbing some vellum also that comes in the kit, and I'm going to use that die from Mama Elephant, and that die is going to cut the vellum for my card front, and that vellum will cover the entire card front. So it is 4¼ by 5½. So once I run that through my big shot, I am just going to check to make sure it's going to cover up the thinking of you sentiment, and that's going to go right on top of that card base. So here, you know when you cut something on your silhouette and the die cut stays a little sticky, I thought it would be sticky enough for me to just stick my Versamark on top of it. And as you can see right there, as soon as I pressed my Versamark to the die cut, it lifted up. So I had to stop and change how I was doing that. So what I grabbed is some Post-it tape, and I'm just going to place my die cut onto that Post-it tape and then adhere that Post-it tape down to my cardstock that I'm using there. So that way the cut file is going to stay in place as I do my embossing. So now I'm ready to take that Versamark and slide that over my entire die cut. So I'm covering the entire area very well with my Versamark, and then I'm going to cover the entire die cut with some embossing powder, and that is the Platinum embossing powder from Ranger. So I know that it might look like I'm using a ton of embossing powder here, but it's so thin and it goes so far that, and I think it looks so great when it's done. I think it's totally worth it. So I waited till my heat gun was nice and hot, and then I'm embossing that entire sentiment. And then I'm going to carefully pull it off of that Post-it tape, and then you'll be able to see how great it looks all embossed. So I was trying to be really careful to make sure I got it. And the little eye, the dot above the eye, had to make sure I got that. So now I'm ready to put my card together. So I'm going to take that die cut, and that is going to go in the center of my card, and the vellum is going to go behind it. Now, as I was looking at it right here, I thought it needed something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a white piece of cardstock behind that vellum to create a little bit of separation and definition between that cut file and the back of my card base. So here I'm just using a little bit of that Ranger Multimedia Matte, and I'm just doing little tiny dots on the back of that cut file. And I adhered that down to my grid mat so I could make sure that the entire sentiment was level from right to left. And I adhered my little eye down. Just wanted to make sure it was all even. So now I'm going to take some of that twine that came in the kit, and I tied a little bow, and then I'm going to place a little bit of adhesive on the back of that, and I'm just going to glue that down to the little swoop on the end of the U. So using my tweezers to make sure that I get that right down in the perfect spot. So I'm going to place that down, and then I'm going to take a stamp block and place that over the top just to make sure it sticks down extra good. So here's where I decide that I need to add some something behind that vellum. So you're going to see me grab another die from that set from Mama Elephant, and it's just slightly smaller than the 4 1/4 and 5 1/2. So I'm going to adhere that to some white cardstock and run that through my Big Shot. And then that is going to go behind the vellum, adhered directly to my card base. And I thought that that looked a lot better and created some definition between that cut file and the card base. So again, using the lines on my grid bat to make sure that's all level, adhering that down, and then I'm going to adhere down my vellum to that card base. And I'm going to use the multi-medium again, and I'm just going to do dots again to make sure that none of that adhesive squishes out. But even if it did, you wouldn't be able to see it because it dries matte. But I always just like to be extra careful. So I press that down with my stamp block, and then that finishes the card. Thanks so much for watching the videos this week and hanging out with me as I created cards from the Clique Kits card kit. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, and have a great day. Thanks so much for stopping by. Bye-bye.